what's the number one most tactical suggestion that you have for agents to attract more sellers in this market right now?
So the thing that is outperforming everything is a text message that you send 8 to 10 a day. So that I'll give you just the numbers. Ready? 181 text messages, Gary, in a 4-week period to people that are already inside your database. So there's some know, like, trust, some love at some level. 181 over a 4-week period, 144 responses. 42 people raised their hand and said, I'm interested. 38 had a CMA created. So here's the value of your home, Gary, right? Like, you asked for it. I'm giving it to you. Don't go to Zillow. Don't go to anybody else's site. Here's the hyper-local experience. From that group, on average, 12 research phase sellers, people that are like, hey, we're a year out from moving. My mother-in-law is about to X, so we're going to move to Y. We're leaving New York. We're going to Florida, whatever it is. A year out, so research phase sellers, and on average, 3 listings taken, and then 4 refis for buyers, and then usually 1 or 2 investors from that 181 test with about 1,000 different agents. So that, my friends, is the single most tactical thing you could do. But all it means is, hey, Gary, checking in. Hope you and the family are doing great. The real estate market in New York City is bonkers again. I'm curious, would you like to know the new value of your home? And instead of saying bonkers, say bananas, and do like 8 banana emojis, because it's going to catch people's eyes and imagination, and they're going to respond to it. And that's all the text is, right? So if you haven't talked to the person in 5 years, you might want to say, shoot them a little video and say, hey, Gary, checking in. Hope you guys are doing great. Just, sending you some love. I was walking down the street. Know you guys are in the neighborhood. Just wanted to say, yo. And then 2 weeks later, you send that text. But for the third of your database that's already warmed up to you, start sending 8 to 10 of those text messages a day. Don't send 500 at once, because you won't be able to handle the response. And actually, you're kind of thinking about your client experience will suffer. So
yeah, and what 8 does versus 500 is allows you to go deeper with each individual one, which allows you to create context and humanity. And humans are animals. We smell shit. We know when we're getting a bulk and everyone got this, and it's fuck you, Tom, instead of Tyler getting a text from me about a free Leonard Fournette signing that day. Now it's like, wait a minute, Gary actually had to write this. He's not sending a bulk to everybody about Leonard fucking Fournette, and so that.
Yeah, I've been on both sides of that. Like, I've done it myself. I've sent a manual text that I've done, but it's been too canned, where, people actually think it's an automated response, but it's actually me. So that's great perspective there to go.
By the way, Tyler, I've had that as well through the years. One of the great moves for everybody, when someone's like, wait a minute, this is spam, you literally make a video and be like, Tyler, I didn't spam you.
Yep.
Hope you're good, brother. And you send that, then it goes triple good.
I love that.
I actually prefer when people reply that this isn't really you.
Gary, on the on my, hey, text me up that you hooked me up with years ago, and people will go, is this really Tom? And I'm like, hey, Gary, it's me. Like, how can I help? I only gave out my number because I want to help people. So how can I help? And people freak.
What Tom intuitively figured out, when he came across a young me and actually executed on, I always give him credit anytime I can, because it's true. So many people came across me. Many people were smart enough, like Tom, to understand, like, oh, fuck, I think he might be up to something.
Yep.
Almost nobody actually executed because it's hard. But what Tom had, and the others that it had, was the ambition and the actions to actually match their ambition. The amount of people I meet that are going to be millionaires selling homes, and then like post 3 times on social, and like don't cold call because they're scared, and like people don't back that. And so what the insight is, why I'm bringing this up, Tyler, is he understood that scaling the unscalable was the actual game.
Right.
Right, which is really not, and the reason it probably worked for him was the real estate industry prior to modern technology was very much a dirty, he grew up in the game, knocking on doors. Like, your work ethic directly affected your outcome. How many phone calls you were willing to make, and how many doors you were willing to knock on, and how many chamber of commerces you were willing to join, and how many local boys club this, and donating to the the little league, and like all the dirt and non-scalable stuff that you were willing to do was a direct attribute. And when technology came along, people were like, oh good, I can just email blast everyone and go to sleep.
Right.
And And the right way to use technology is to use it in parallel to amplify your hand-to-hand combat. You're getting your hands dirty.